Hey everyone, this is Zach, and today I wanted to talk about something that I saw on Twitter today that I think is really important for anyone who is attending an upcoming regional and the EUIC. This is pertaining to false flags on hack checks, dealing with the gold bottle cap, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. First, let's start of where I saw this. I saw this on Hari's Twitter. He also made a YouTube video. The only problem is that it's in French and the auto translate captions aren't the best, which isn't their fault. So I just wanted to put that information out there even more, so more people know about this and more people can be prepared so they don't get false flags in the hack check in their next regional or international championship. I started with this video right here where he quote tweets the video that he actually posted a couple days ago. And in the video, he talks about how two French players at the Eurich regional got Pokemon removed from their team in top 8 due to these false checks. And he knows that either A, he helped a player get the mons for the team, I believe, according to the video, or B, he knows that because of their age, they're juniors and seniors, because of their age, they don't have access to hacking or genning software. So he fully believes that these are false flags, and he explains it, and we get a little bit more proof, which we'll talk about later on in the video. But this video is mostly talking about his personal experience and his connection with these players and how he tried to handle the situation when it came across by communicating with their parents, which awesome for him, helping out the younger players. I think that's great. But I believe one of the players he talks about in the video lost a Dodonzo on a Tetsugiri Dodonzo team, which is fatal. Like if you're losing your Dodonzo on a Dodonzo Tetsugiri team, that stinks. But he talks about it throughout, and then he kind of shows it towards the end, but we'll talk about it a little bit more now. And I started looking into this when I saw this tweet. Warning to players going to EUIC. Even if your Pokemon are fully legit, you might get them removed from your team because of a flaw in the hack check, which caused unfair penalty to several players in Eurich. What is the problem and how do you solve it yourself? As I explained in my video, the hack check from TPCI has recently updated to match the 3.0.0 features. The gold bottle cap has a new hidden flag that was not checked before in 3.0, which means the game knows if a gold bottle cap has been used on a Pokemon or not. But if you used a gold bottle cap before the 3.0 update, this flag is not checked, which is considered as a red flag by the new hack checking standards. They just ignore the fact that the previous update didn't do this and the new update does, and so they could know that this is an issue, and they're just disqualifying Pokemon from players' teams without discussing it. So they just ignore that you could have used the gold bottle cap before this update. The easy fix is to deposit your Pokemon in Pokemon Home and take it back to Scarlet and Violet. I would always move it into Pokemon Home, save that Pokemon Home, like let it save within the Pokemon Home, and then reopen Pokemon Home and move it back in. And this apparently fixes the flags. So the TLDR is deposit your Pokemon in Pokemon Home before uploading your rental that is required for hack checks. For those of you who don't know, the bigger tournaments, the regionals, the international championships, they're now asking you to submit a rental code when you submit your team. And this is probably to start these hack checks early so they can get more people checked and they can avoid doing this as the tournament progresses as much. If you don't do this, you run the risk of getting an unfair penalty or getting a Pokemon removed, or if there's enough Pokemon, even disqualified from the tournament. So if this is something that pertains to everyone, you should do it no matter what. If you plan on bringing those Pokemon, I would move them into Pokemon Home before you submit your rental code. I agree with this. He's worried about getting in trouble because one player has spoken about avoiding hacks and they got in trouble for it, but this is just a flaw in the game code that can be fixed. And this is how you fix it. And this is to prevent errors in the hack check. And usually a lot of this stuff is speculation unless you can fully prove it. Well, we do have someone who can fully prove that this is true with the code, and that's Kerfotics. For those of you who don't know Kerfotics is the person that likes to point out when competitive players gen Pokemon really bad, which, just to be clear, I don't gen Pokemon. I agree that genning and hacking your game is against the rules, and if you do it, you deserve punishment if you get caught. But at the end of the day, like, I don't care how my opponent gets their Pokemon, because I know that that plays a very, very minimal factor in the actual competitive nature of battling someone across the table. But Kerfotic says, tentatively confirmed, it seems that the TPCI has an incorrect understanding of how hyper training works and may be incorrectly removing Pokemon from players' teams. In Scarlet and Violet prior to 3.0, using a gold bottle cap would apply to hyper training flags to every IV, even if already 31, which is perfect. In 3.0, the game will now only set hyper training flags to the IVs if they aren't already 31. This matches the behavior of BDSP and Sword and Shield. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee had the same bug that hyper trained all IVs. So if this Pokemon was gold bottle capped in BDSP, or if it was gold bottle capped in Sword and Shield, you should be fine. But I would say play it safe. Move everything to home before you lock in your team. Only uploading to home will fix this erroneous hyper training flag back to its expected state. So even Kurt agrees that the quick and legal fix is to just be safe, put your Pokemon in Pokemon Home, and then move them back into Scarlet and Violet. It's entirely legal to have used a gold bottle cap in Scarlet and Violet prior to 3.0 and not have the flags fixed by home. I have seen at least one example, our team, where a player has had a Mon removed from TPCI because of this, which by my understanding was an incorrect action. So he agrees that if you're getting a Mon disqualified from this is a Pokemon's fault. This is Pokemon's problem. And here's the funny part. He posts the link to the GitHub where he shows it within the code and probably talks about it. I did not look at the GitHub, but he goes, why did they incorrectly remove it? Well, after 3.0, I updated PK Hex to flag these 31 IVs plus hyper training. While still legal, it's a visual nag to the player to go get it fixed in home. So some people do use PK Hex to check the mons that they get. And so he added this to do legality checks and to allow other people to do legality checks. I don't know how PK Hex works, but that's what I'm assuming. And then he says it would be funny if the Pokemon Company International was secretly using PK Hex and blindly trusting the output, which would be crazy, but it would make sense. To stop people from using PK Hex, you would check it with PK Hex to fight fire with fire, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what Pokemon's doing. Get my Pokemon legitimate, so besides this hyper training flag error, I don't have to worry about any of it. So TLDR, entering an official tournament with a Pokemon you used a gold bottle cap in prior to Scarlet and Violet, prior to 3.0, upload it to home, retrieve it to fix the hyper training flags to the proper state, or assume that TPCI wises up to this mistake in their checks, which they probably won't. Let's be real. They probably won't. Until they patch the game out to where it fixes it automatically. I don't know. The same recommendation for any goofball who brings something up from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They gold bottle capped and moved into SV before the 3.0 update, which I did that with a Charizard and Sword and Shield. Some Pokemon is just easier. Like Kantomons, it's easier to shiny hunt in Pikachu and Eevee. So if you want a shiny Charizard, get it there. But anyways, let's show an example in game and talk about this a little bit more. Okay, so these are my Pokemon. These are my competitive Pokemon. I still have my Global Challenge 2 team locked in because I haven't connected this Switch to Wi-Fi since the Blastoise event. I really need to get back on ladder. But this Chien-Pao, for example, this Chien-Pao might have used a gold bottle cap. If I used a gold bottle cap on this Chien-Pao, it was definitely prior to the 3.0 update, so this Chien-Pao would be affected by this flag error. So before the 3.0 update, all of these stats would be listed as hyper trained, even the special attack, the HP, and the defense that are already 31. Now, after the 3.0 update, the HP, special attack, and defense would just stick as 31, where the attack, special defense, and speed would be listed as hyper trained. So this is a mon that I would have to, if I wanted to use this at a regional, or if I wanted to use this at EUIC, I would have to move it into Pokemon Home before I submitted my team, before I submitted my rental code, before I went to the tournament, to make sure that just in case it doesn't get a false flag, it doesn't get a false hack check. And honestly, this might sound like overkill, but if I do get a chance to attend a regional or an international championship in Scarlet and Violet's lifetime, I'm probably just going to move all of these competitive mons into Pokemon Home. Like, not just one of them, probably all of them, just to play it safe. But then again, I'm also one of those people that double check in an overkill sense. But there are some mons that you can see that like I didn't gold bottle cap, like Fluttermane, for example. It's hyper trained, but as you can see, its attack is still at a 0. So I know that I didn't use a gold bottle cap on this one. This Fluttermane is probably safe. Same thing with this Annihilate, the shiny Annihilate. Its special attack isn't hyper trained, so I know that I didn't use a gold bottle cap, so this one is probably safe. But once again, I would probably move them all anyway, just to be sure. Also ones like this Dragonite, for example, that is all hyper trained because it was a wild encounter. It's probably fine. It's because they're all hyper trained, they're all gold bottle capped anyway, so they would be all flagged as hyper trained gold bottle cap anyway. Browsing in this, I did notice that like there's an Iron Hands that I for sure used. Dream Punch, Heavy Slam, Wild Charge, Fake Out. Didn't bottle cap it at all. So I don't know about that, but this is just something that like shout out to Hari on Twitter and YouTube and good on Kurt for confirming this as a real issue and that the home thing is a real fix to this issue, because I don't want people getting false flagged. And you need to do this before you submit your rental code. So if you don't know, now in the regionals, when you submit your team, they also want you to submit a rental code, and that's probably so they can start hack checking early. So if you don't do this, like you could show up to the tournament and already have them on removed if they've already hack checked you and they found one of these false flags. And we don't want that. We don't want people who actually get their Pokemon legitimately getting punished, especially if you're spending a bunch of money to register for the tournament, to travel to the tournament, to stay in a hotel or an Airbnb near the tournament. Like if you're spending all that money and all that time investment, you don't want to get hit with a false flag if you can prevent it. So the best way to prevent it is any Pokemon you know you've gold bottle capped before the 3.0 update, move it into Pokemon Home. Honestly, like I said, I'm probably going to do overkill. I'm probably going to move everyone back in there just to be safe. And also, like, if they're false flagging people and they're dealing with these false flags, not only are those people getting punished when they don't deserve to be, but that also leaves less time to actually deal with real problems that we have to worry about, like people who actually did gen, our community safety at tournaments. These are things that we want the judges and TOs to be paying attention to, not dealing with these false flags, especially if they don't have to, especially if it's not your fault. Is Pokemon going to fix this? Probably not. So any Pokemon that you bottle capped, just move them into Pokemon Home. Just deal with it now so you don't have to deal with it later. Now, any Pokemon, as long as your game is up to date and you have the 3.0 update, any Pokemon you bottle cap, gold bottle cap after the 3.0 update is fine. It's fine. So if you did gold bottle cap, you're gouging fire, for example, that came out at that came out after the 3.0 update, should be fine. But one of these, with something like this, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't know which ones I use gold bottle caps on. I know that this Tornadus and probably my Landorus, I probably gold bottle capped them prior. Like this Landorus here and the Tornadus, I caught them in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, so I've probably already gold bottle capped them, so they probably are fine because they were in Sword and Shield, so they should have gotten the fix in Sword and Shield or when I put them back into Home. But like I said, I would play it safe and just move them all into Home. That's just me though. But what do you think? Do you think Pokemon's going to own up to their mistakes? Probably not. Do you think that this is overkill for the Pokemon company to be dealing with these false flags and punishing people for these false flags? Probably. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know there's going to be people in the comments that are like, oh, I don't care, they're cheaters. This isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about people who are getting flagged because of a change in the software done by Pokemon themselves. So, I don't know. Anyways, I hope this video helps someone out. I hope this video gets out there so everyone can get the warning. Shout out to Hari. His link of his Twitter, especially the thread and the video, the original video, will be in the description down below, as well as Kerfotic's thread on the issue itself. So if you want to read that yourself, look into it. Links will be in the description. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'm Zach, and we'll see everyone later.